Let's
And
try
we
that
do it
again.
live because we're fucking stupid. So that's even the best.
Right, so once again, good evening, everybody. We're back again. Hopefully with audio issues resolved and the like. Um, let's get started again. So tonight we're back and we're gonna try and get back into the swing of things a bit. So we're gonna talk about developers that are doing things right in an industry hell bent on getting everything wrong and upsetting its consumers. A lot of this is going to be centered around Blizzard, as we've been playing a metric shit ton of Blizzard games recently, and since we last recorded, especially, um, which is why I have some lovely Overwatch footage for you to watch. Some of which is me being Zarya and being quite good. Some of which is me being Anna and being utterly shit. So, enjoy that. So the gaming industry has been in a bit of a weird place at the moment because we're kind of full of remasters and disappointments and hype trains going a bit wrong. Looking at you, Hello Games and No Man's Sky, um, and the messy Bioshock remaster, which you wouldn't have think they'd be able to make a mess of, but have, and a couple of other bits and bobs like that. And Sony kind of saying, "Hey, we only want 3-year console generations," and console gamers saying, "Graphics don't matter." Then buying the same console 3 years after they bought the previous one exclusively for graphics and that kind of thing. But amongst all that, there's a couple of developers doing things very right. CG Project Red, obviously, the massive success that was The Witcher 3, and Rockstar Games with just continuing to support GTA 5 to frankly ridiculous levels and keep pumping out quality content years after release and maintain the player base and keep the game alive. And of course, Blizzard, with 15 million people playing Overwatch, which is essentially just a TF2 ripoff, but it has a magic about it that seems to work. So, what is it do you reckon that they're doing then, Ian? What is it that's keeping them so far ahead of everyone else?
It's very difficult. I've just said this before. It's as I said before. It's they don't innovate. They don't bring. They don't take risks. They don't bring something new to the market and say, "Oh, I don't know if this is what you're asking for." They just break down a game that's already been released into its fundamental parts, its components that work, seem to add their spit and polish to it, and then release it with their skins over the top.
Yeah.
And the games they release just seem far more polished. And they're not the only ones that do this. If you look at Rockstar with GTA, each iteration of that game just gets better and better and better. Um, there are, I mean, it becomes the point which one's the clone in the end, because which one's obviously the most popular. But that's just it's just magic. There's a bit of magic with it. There's a bit of pixie dust. There's a certain element that you can't say, well, that's why they're good and that's why they're bad.
Yeah.
It's just that little bit extra.
I mean, you look at, say, obviously Team Fortress 2, which Overwatch is so heavily inspired by. I say that because it's basically a remake at this point or a sequel. But they've taken what is a very simple concept and just laden it with oodles of character and just given it that Blizzard touch, and it's polished and it's characterful, it's colourful, it looks great, it runs great, and it feels like people have actually played it and worked out whether or not it's fun before they've released it. I mean, as you were saying before, like say Battleborn, which we've played recently, is essentially the same thing, albeit a bit less focused and a bit less singular in what it wants to do. But there's just something missing. It's not a bad game at all. Like for the £7 we picked it up for, it was fine for just a co-op
It
blast through. But
just feels vapid and soulless, though, doesn't it? It just feels cheap.
yeah,
I mean, if you put the two products to one side, side by side, and like almost blind test them, you could say, well, that's got the Blizzard air of quality about it, and this one hasn't. So this is the real Coca-Cola, and that's Roller Cola in your other hand, so to speak.
yeah,
There's there's a dedicated. I mean, they have some of the most talented people in the business working for them, and it shows. But I mean, they're not without the scruples, though. They're not without, essentially they're a business. But you kind of play them games, all the games they make with a smile.
Yeah.
And it's one of the hardest things and the best things to do in life is to make other people smile. Overwatch is full of colour and character, and it's not full of blood, guts, and gore. It's not all grey, different shades of greys and greens, which I enjoy them anyway. But it just feels fun. And I've heard of people who don't play like what you would call an FPS game, but they'll play Overwatch because there's different characters and there's different ways to play the game within this small group, and people are grouping up together that wouldn't to play it all together.
Yeah.
My home, for example, my partner Tracy looks at it and goes, "Well, that's quite fun," but then he looks at it from a different angle, almost like a Nintendo look to it.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo have that magic when they do something. It's just that air of quality. So like the three of us can sit and look at it from three different viewpoints, but all come with three different conclusions, but still enjoy the game together. Kind of, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. And it's, as well as that, there's such a incredible community around it. Like you look at Overwatch, and there's people who don't play Overwatch who are enjoying the ridiculous number of memes and like community artwork and stuff that's being spread from it, and who will never play the game but can enjoy the characters that Blizzard have created and enjoy the stories that exist there in something that by rights doesn't even need story, for what's just an arena shooter at the end of the day. And then from another perspective, there's the competitive element where there's already a massive esports following around it that's built up from basically nothing. I mean, when it was an alpha and beta, there were tournaments being run, and Blizzard never necessarily pushed it towards that. That was never a key intention. But now it's got such massive amount of support that it's a thing now. It's going to happen, and it's going to be supported, hopefully. And
without trying to like bang the drum for everything Blizzard do is wonderful. The only thing that they do, and again it goes back to the fact they are a business and they're there to make money. At the end of the day, if we don't buy the game or don't buy the content, they're not going to make it. They don't bring these out for free completely and say, well, there you go, you don't have to give us any money for this. It's just they do prey on the have and have not mentality. We see this more. This is creeping into games more and more. Now, I do appreciate with Overwatch, because one of the things I enjoy with that game is it's because there's a ranking system in the competitive seasons modes. You can just play quick match or against AI, but because you don't rank up to unlock perks or gun or extra weapons and things like this, you can play for two. The person comes to that game after playing after an hour or 100 hours still has the same loadout, so to speak. Still got access to the weapons are the same. The gameplay's the same. There's no change to it. Like, well, they're overpowered because they've invested so much more time into this than I've been able to. It's no longer fun. But they put this system in there, which is obviously the loot crate system you've got in Overwatch, which for anyone who hasn't played it or doesn't understand what that is, every time you level up, you get a loot crate, and inside that is, and this is not exhaustive, a different skin, so your character looks slightly different, emotes, stickers, voice lines as well. Dan,
yep.
am I missing one?
Voice lines. There's like highlight intros. There's like
victory
stances.
poses as well. Yeah. Now, none of these change how the game plays, but it just adds an extra little bit of aesthetic to it. But you can also microtransaction those. If you don't want to wait to level up to them, you can buy more loot crates.
Yeah.
But it goes back to that, was the have and have nots. I mean, we jokingly say when we play Hot, so he's on a pleb horse. So you automatically feel superior because you've got a better mount than somebody else. It's just, and it's that I don't like. I don't like that aspect. It's a it's a £40 game, and you got all these skins in it. But then I have this have and have not. Oh, he's got a better skin than me. It just feeds that greed.
Yeah. Well,
that's the only negative I can find with them, to be honest. After exhaustively saying I can't just sit and go, yeah, Blizzard the boss. Everything they do is magic. It's not. I mean, there's just it does leave a bit of a bitter taste.
And you look through their forums, and there are people who complain about that quite regularly, but then just carry on throwing money at them anyway and buying all their games. So, there's that. But
It's the have and have not though, Dan. That's the idea with that. It's the carrot on the stick, and he just keep moving it.
Yeah.
And yet everyone just it preys on elements of your personality that's inbred in most of us, that you keep just chasing that carrot just a little bit. You want to go a little bit more. I mean, we say like HOTS isn't as popular as we think it should be, because I think the heroes are overpriced.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're totally right there, because they're like on release day they're £8 in a free to play game, which it's a lot of money, especially when they're coming out every couple of weeks at the moment. I think eventually that'll slow down because they'll hit a point of saturation where they don't want to keep adding heroes, and they'll run out of like games to draw heroes from until they release something in the future, and they'll have to slow that down, and then it'll probably be a better value proposition around there, because you'll stop feeling like you're falling behind, and you'll stop getting that have and have not. Like say Zarya, who from Overwatch is making her way to HOTS in a couple of weeks, and we've been grinding currency because I'm desperate to pick her up day one, because it's just like, she's an Overwatch character. Overwatch is my favourite Blizzard game. I am picking that up. And the grind for currency, it's taken me probably a fortnight, maybe 3 weeks of playing every single day and hitting those daily quests every single day and leveling up loads of heroes every single day to get more or less enough currency to pick her up on day one. And it doesn't give you an advantage really, because she'll be on free rotation and the currency will drop, but it's that I want her now, I want to play as her now, I don't want to have to wait thing. Exactly as you say, it's the
I mean, their arguments for that is reasonably fair. They do change the heroes that you can play for free. As you say, they rotate them each week. So you can actually spend no money at all and enjoy the game, which is fine. But I just think they overprice it, and it's like they push it too hard, but it's just there. I think the same as like with CS:GO. The game's relatively cheap. The skins though become increasingly rare and then very more expensive. Accordingly, they don't change the way the game plays, but people go mad for them. People, there's gambling. There's YouTubers into trouble because there's gambling websites around this skin system.
yeah.
It's like, people want. It's like, that's really rare. I want that because I'll look good in the game if I've got that skin. You put a false value on something which inherently doesn't even exist. And so it's the same kind of attitude with that. It's the same kind of little bit like with GTA. We see that the microtransactions within that game, because it's solely just for the online components, which makes them so much money. That's why we haven't heard of a new Rockstar game, because they just keep making money from GTA, because it's just the same thing. Oh look, we're doing this now. They add something new, and it's slightly out of reach unless you can play 100 hours a week. And not many people can, so it's always slightly out of reach. It's just like, I've got to keep. The best word you should use there, mate, is grind. I've got to play this thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again, just so I can add to the experience. Or I can pay £9 for a hero to play in Heroes of the Storm every couple of weeks.
And I guess
they've just announced today, funny enough, just while I think of it, they've put the price up. It's the first time they've done it, but they've put the price up on one of the heroes.
Not ideal. It's I suppose you can take it down to kind of Blizzard's biggest success. I suppose I think Overwatch has actually eclipsed it now, but World of Warcraft being their biggest success, the grind is so integral to their business, and so important to the way that they make money, because that's longevity in a MMO game is the grind. If it didn't exist, it wouldn't happen, and that have not got need mentality for the mounts and for all that kind of thing. So I suppose you can see where it comes from, because their teams very much are built of people who have made other games that they like. They don't tend to hire in specifically for games. They have a very select group of people who work on things, and then that team is expanded outwards once the game finds traction. Like Overwatch has now got, I think it was 110 people working on it or something like that, and it was like a concept of 5 people who put it together initially, and from there it's just grown and grown and grown as the concept's built. I think
It's the failed MMO Titan, is it not?
it is. It is.
They gave up on the MMO because they thought they got to a point where they think this just isn't fun.
Yeah.
And and Overwatch was born from that. They had these characters and stuff. I don't know what they had. If you're interested, if you ever find out, you say, well, this is what the game was have been. But they're too smart, I think, to tell us what that would be. But I think they introduced like an auction house thing. I don't know World of Warcraft at all. I've played very, very little of it. But I remember there's a bit of a storm was created over that because they introduced like an auction house where you could actually spend, rather than just your subscription to keep playing it, there was, or you can buy these mounts now, you can buy these things, these extra character things, these pets to add to the game. I think, well, hang on, we're already paying you each month to play this. Why is this all of a sudden being added? But it goes back again to the, well, you don't have to have it, but you do look a bit special if you do. Without them actually saying that at all, so we don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the skins in Overwatch. You can play this game. It doesn't change the game at all, just because your Roadhog looks a little bit cooler in a shark skin than he does in his normal, like the default skin. I want like a shark. A shark looks good.
Yeah, and it's like watching this gameplay back and seeing me playing Zarya in one of her legendary skins, and those are difficult to get hold of. There's they're like a 0.7% drop chance from a loot box, so you have to get more than 100 boxes to guarantee a legendary, which is insane. Like, that's ridiculous. When you think about it like that, it is greedy and it's ridiculous. Although you can pick them up with currency, which you earn very, very slowly if you want to.
Almost non-existent currency.
Yeah. But I'm looking at that thinking, I'm proud I've got that skin. It looks really cool. And it's terrible because I shouldn't think like that at all. Like, I should just think, I've paid 40 whatever quid for the Origins edition of the game. I went all out and bought the special one because it had extra skins in. And it gave me some nice wings for Diablo 3, which I'm still really happy about. Which, again, I shouldn't be. But it's just that I want this shiny thing that nobody else has got mentality, as you say. And it's ridiculous. I mean,
it is a compliment and an insult at the same time from me, because Battleborn has the skin system in it, but the skins are shocking.
Yeah,
you don't want them. You think, look at them, and go, ugh. But they're so well designed. With Blizzard, they have, again, it's back to the pixie dust. They have this magic dust that they sprinkle on it. They're so well designed. I think they actually do want these things.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that looks really good. Actually, they make the quality is so good. They are desirable. Where, as you say, Battleborn is like, nah, like it's just a different color. I'll pass. They make money because people want them.
Yeah, they wouldn't if they didn't. At the end of the day, and Battleborn's a great example of how not to do that, because the skins are properly shit. Like,
yeah, they're awful.
They're not cool. You don't want them. They're just slight colour variations on existing skins, and they're not good ones either.
Our charity shop would turn them away.
Yeah.
They are awful. But there's some skins just saying, going, I don't like that. But there's enough variation, there's enough difference. They think, well, I like that. I don't like that one. Well, I like that one. I want that one. I'll save up for that one, or hopefully get lucky. I'll level up and get I might drop in a loot crate and think, ooh. But it's fair play to them, really. But it just does feel, for me, just a little cynical. A little cold. A little greedy. You've got 15 million people playing your game. The game's not cheap. You can't buy it cheap because it's still so popular. The console and PC this is as well. So it's like, how much money have you made from this already? Do you really need to add microtransactions for loot crates? Can't you just put like a quest system in that you do with other games?
Yeah.
So we can like maybe get currency or more XP so we can level, because the level up system, apart from the loot crates, doesn't make any single difference to the game at all. So maybe there's a different way to do it, but it's like, no, because if we leave it as, people will still buy them.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it as is. It's okay.
And the thing is, there's no guarantee that it will stay as it is. As we've seen with HOTS, it's evolved so much in the time that it's been out that It's something that Blizzard do. They care about what people think of them. They may be cynical and they may be a little bit greedy at times, but they do give a shit when people complain about stuff, and they do tend to fix it, and usually quite quickly as well.
It's the capitalist nature we live in, Dan. If the customer isn't buying it, you change what you're selling.
Yeah.
I think we realised that when Diablo 3 came out. I never played the first iteration of that, but apparently the Diablo fans weren't very happy with it, as this game's not very good. And then Reaper of Souls, the expansion, came out and fixed all the problems with it, and it's now superb.
Yeah.
That's the version I played, the Reaper of Souls version, so I've got nothing to compare it to. But they're just not stupid. If it's shit, you're not going to buy it. Look how cheap you can buy. Poor Battleborn's getting the right kicking, but look how cheap you can pick that up for now.
Yeah. And like say, I tweeted about it today. Currently, CEX are offering £9 cash for No Man's Sky and £22 cash for Overwatch. Like, it came out months later and had a higher retail price. Yet they can't. They've got so many copies on the shelves. They're inundated with copies of No Man's Sky that they can't sell for the 38 quid they're trying to get rid of it at. But they can't sell enough copies of Overwatch because people aren't trading it in. You know, and I think there's actually more content in Battleborn than Overwatch. You know, being honest.
God, yeah. Oh God, there's lots more.
A bucket load.
Yeah, it's huge. It suffers from a bit of a schizophrenia because it doesn't really know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Overwatch is very refined, and it's kind of like, this is what it is. You know, it's a 6v6 objective-based shoot 'em up. You know, it's class-based as well. Hopefully, you work as a team. Bloody, and that's it. Where Battleborn's like, well, we've got that in here. People like MOBAs, don't they? Oh, do you like first-person MOBAs? Right, we'll put a little bit of that in. Oh, you like campaigns? Oh, we'll put a campaign in it. Oh, you want to do co-op? Oh, we'll put a co-op campaign in. You can do a co-op as well, you know. It's like, oh, you want skins? We'll throw skins in. It's like, well, pick one and do that well. It's just a mishmash of everything. It's got no identity and therefore feels soulless and vapid and just ugh.
And yet mechanically it's not bad. It's just there's just something missing. And I think that's the same with a lot of similar games. Like, I find that with other MOBAs. I know a lot of people don't. And HOTS is very much the ugly stepchild of the MOBA community at the moment, especially compared to like Dota and League of Legends, which are obviously ridiculously popular. But there's just something about it. There's just a magic, and the way they've approached it is very slightly different to other MOBAs, and it's just that little bit more enjoyable and that little bit less soul destroying, although it still is very soul destroying at times, and there have been many a rage quit from that game. Oh boy.
Well, you introduced me to Dota.
Yeah.
I think the international was on, said, oh mate, you've got to watch that. You've got to watch this, mate. I haven't got a clue what's going on. So yeah, there's like a noob commentary, so you can hopefully understand it a bit more. So, I think, okay, I'll give that a go. And it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
The shop system and stuff, it's just completely overwhelming. And it's actually funny the way it goes full circle. From what I understand, Dota was a mod for Warcraft 2.
I think it's a Warcraft 3 mod.
Was it Warcraft 3 mod?
I think
a mod for Warcraft 3. It became so popular they released it as a standalone title. And now you've got Blizzard now saying, well, we like the MOBA idea, but here's how we're going to do it. And it's like they just make it accessible. As you say, it seems to be frowned upon in the MOBA community because it is a dumbed down version of a MOBA.
Yeah. In
respect to those. I've never played League of Legends, ever. So I can't comment on that one. But it's so... They take the last hit mechanic out of it. The XP is team-based rather than just yourself as a player. So it just creates... It's just easier to play. It's easier to understand what's going on. Despite the fact we still don't go in the mines. Because we won't. It's the law now. It's just that. It's the same as we touched before, like with Rockstar. There have been other games of a similar vein, but they don't quite hit the GTA mark. There's never been another Red Dead. Nothing's quite like Red Dead Redemption, which I still need to finish.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
I really do need to finish. But there's just when they do, there's just certain people that you trust with certain things, and Blizzard, Rockstar are two of the examples that you trust them.
Yeah.
Because even when they miss, it's not that bad. But they do listen to the community. They do listen to the people spending their money, and more importantly, the time invested in the games. Well, we want you guys to enjoy it, and that's whether they're sincere with that, but that's what I get from them.
Yeah.
Yes, they want my money, but they want me to enjoy the process and give them my money with a smile, rather than throw it at them because I'm pissed off. It's like, I'm happily give you this money for these skins. I'll happily give you the money for more in-game currency so I can buy the car I want in GTA, because I'm enjoying your game so much.
Yeah. I think that's
because your game's really good and I'm enjoying it, and I play with my friends and my friends enjoy it, and we all enjoy it, and this is good, rather than just like, just more money and we'll fix it.
I think that's what it boils down to. The devs that we're mentioning, like CG Project Red as well. More so, I mean, I didn't get on with either of the previous Witcher games, but The Witcher 3 has received widespread critical acclaim, and for very, very good reason. They seem to actually play the game themselves and decide whether or not it's fun. And it seems like such a simplistic thing. But as you mentioned earlier with Nintendo, that's what Nintendo do with their classic games. It's always been about enjoyment, less about graphics, less about all that kind of thing. And EA's, can we make this multiplayer thing this better than whatever? And all about whether or not the player's having a good time, which is kind of the point. Like, there are narrative experiences and there are whole subcategories of game that offer a totally different thing. But isn't it just about having fun? Isn't that the point? And I think the Blizzard especially capture that so well, that whatever it is they do, they just make sure that the game's fun and it's enjoyable, and the grind is worth it at the end of the day.
I think it's a lot to do with me, Dan, with reputation as well, because Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare is one of the best shooters you'll ever play. It's what we like with Overwatch. It's full of character. It's full of fun. It's very little snarl. It's to say it's a dumbed down version of Battlefield does it a disservice. Really, it's just a variation of a Battlefield. But you can know it's got everything about it you think this should be a major hit. And I just can't help thinking, if it wasn't EA that brought this out, this would be more popular.
Yeah.
But EA's got Ultimate Team, and it's got battle packs in Battlefront. It's got the premium packs in other games. You think, you're merciless bastards, a lot of you. And you look at that and think, it's just from the same. It comes from the same stable. It's not like that though. It generally isn't.
Yeah.
This is proper fun, what a game should be. And it has the old kind of Nintendo innocence and charm to that game, both of them. And they should be much more popular, in my opinion, than they are. Yeah. But as I say, it just seems to be tarnished. And I don't know how you get away from that reputation.
I think it takes a lot of time. It takes years of producing games that are good, and years of not pumping a new title out every year, going away and developing for a massive period of time, then bringing something out that's like genre defining good, like GTA 5, which is just, there's not a lot I don't like about that game. I mean, across 2 platforms, I think I've put 300 odd hours in, and most of that's the online, which is, at the surface, looks very empty and very simplistic, but the second you start scratching that away and realise how much there is to do in that, and how much we've played hundreds of hours of that and still don't know half of what's in there, and keep seeing things and think, oh shit, I've never done that. That looks great fun.
I said this to you the night when I was Spamfish playing it on Twitch, so I didn't even know that mode was in there.
Yeah.
That looks awesome. We have to play that mode. It's just for me, and there's nothing else I can really say on it, matey, to be honest. It's take your season passes and your microtransactions that affect gameplay and fuck off.
Yeah.
Now, the season passes have gone, but now we have to, if you're on console, you have to pay to be online.
Yeah.
But take that and fuck off as well. But it's take those things and fuck off. And if you want to keep microtransactions in, as ugly and as merciless as they are, and is just cynical, as I find them. I say again, make them for shit that no one that you can live happily without.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because you do want the skins and you do want the things and you do want these nice shiny cars, the nice shiny wheels, or whatever else it is that the game's dangling that got carrots in front of you going, you want this. But good luck to anyone trying it because it's not easy and it's reputation is very hard to achieve and very easy to lose, and you could lose it in a heartbeat. And I think that's what Blizzard and Rockstar do. I think you touched on this as well, mate. They look after their reputation so well, and they seem to pride themselves on we play games, we make games for gamers.
Yeah.
And you touched on it with the PS4 weirdness that's going on at the moment, because that was their big thing 3 years ago. So where gamers come to play or something, whatever their tagline was.
Yeah.
And now it just seems to be like, well, where gamers come to spend all their money.
Yeah.
And people are saying that it seems to be that way with Sony. Like, oh, you can fuck off. And if that box does native 4K, I'm a fucking Dutchman. Saying that now, well, I've got a voice or something to say it. I'm a fucking Dutchman. If a £350 console can do native 4K, oh, okay. I'll happily eat my shoes if I'm wrong, but fuck off.
Yeah, I'll give them 350 quid if you can do native 4K, because my like bordering on £4,000 PC can't. So just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the matter. Anyway, it's all about that reputation and about games being fun and games being enjoyable and not screwing your customers over to the point where they don't want to play your games anymore. Like EA and co.
I'm hoping EA are learning. There's signs that they are getting a little bit better, but they still seem a bit merciless with it. I mean, the Battlefield 1 was the most played beta apparently ever. 15. Yeah. I don't know how millions and millions of people wanted to play that because everyone was screaming, "No more futuristic fucking shooters, please!" Like, so guess what? We're doing World War One. Everyone, okay, let me play that.
Yeah, it was exactly what people were asking for a change.
But then they still persisted with the premium model because people pay. Yeah. And that, for me, splits your user base for the ones who have and the ones who have not.
Yeah, which is that same mentality again, but done alongside a premium season pass, as it were, which is more expensive than regular season passes, and microtransactions in the form of the loot crates and the boxes and all that sort of thing. And it's kind of combining all the things that other developers do into one great big fuck you to the consumer, all in one go.
Which is what we touched with Rockstar and with Blizzard. They look at that and go, "Oh, we'll have microtransactions because they make us money, but we'll skin it this way. We'll put a spin on it. We'll do it this way, so you don't feel like you're being mugged. You actually feel like you're giving them the money because you want to.
Yeah,
it's not through gritted teeth." Or I have to do this because my mate's got premium and I can't play with him if I haven't, and I have to spend £110 now to play the same game. It was only cost me £40 last week, but he's gone premium. I have to go premium. Yeah. But they have introduced, it's that kind of thing. Hopefully, with the birth of EA Access, and which is tremendous value. They are slowly trying to learn, but it just seems to, as we last thing, it's the reputation just seems to be there. With the companies we've mentioned today, Rockstar, Blizzard, to name just two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this, I mean, I hope this doesn't come across too fanboy, because I don't want to be like seen like that really. But for me, it's been I've been using Battle.net more than I've been using Steam in the last like 6 months. Because pretty much now every genre of game that I want to play is there, and for the most part I'm enjoying them more than I am their counterparts. Like I put 10-15 hours into the Battlefield 1 beta and I enjoyed it, and I'll get it when it comes out, but I've got a horrible suspicion I will go straight back to Overwatch quite quickly. Maybe play Battlefield more as the map packs come out and that kind of thing, because they're usually very good. They are ludicrously overpriced, but the DLC content for the Battlefield games is usually very, very high quality. Titanfall the same. Like, we're both big proponents of Titanfall, and Titanfall 2 I think we're both looking forward to a large amount. But I can see myself just thinking, it's not Overwatch though, is it? And going back to play Overwatch more. Especially now that I feel like I'm actually getting somewhere, and I feel like I'm in the swing of it a bit. And like the new competitive season season 3 should probably start around about the time that those games come out, and BlizzCon will be when those games come out. So we're expecting massive amounts of content. There's unannounced stuff for Heroes of the Storm. There's probably an absolute shit ton of stuff for Overwatch. I'm expecting quite a lot from BlizzCon. Probably heroes, maybe maps, maybe game modes. Quite a lot. And there'll be more content.
They've done that with that, Dan, as well. They've got, you want to watch us online, and we'll give you all these little bits for your games that you play. Give us 30 quid.
Yeah, it's a 25 quid virtual ticket to watch something that you could otherwise stream on Twitch, and you can stream on Twitch still, except that you'll get a couple of skins and some mounts. And I'm actually considering buying it because I'm a fucking idiot. But
yeah, I'm not buying that.
I'm tempted.
But I will sit here then and I will sulk. I haven't got that blue shiny Bastion skin, and I don't even like using Bastion.
Yeah, and it's terrible, but I can't help it, and I can't help enjoying the games still, which is, I think, speaks to the magic that they've got. Because I'll sit here and begrudge loot boxes, but be sat there thinking, I mean, I could just spend 50 quid on loot boxes. They don't have lots of skins, but then cry a little and stop thinking that, because it's a horrible, horrible thing to do. God, don't give them 50 quid for loot boxes. That's just terrible. But
I'd consider it if the game was free.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm not giving you 50 quid on top of the money I've already spent on your fucking game.
Yeah.
Plus, I also like the fact of leveling up to get a loot crate.
Yeah, I think.
And I don't want to steal that mode, that little moments of like, whoo, I might get something good out of this, and then like, oh fucking that happens. But I don't want to steal that moment from myself either.
Yeah.
Because I like that.
It's just one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, I think that's more or less all we have to say on that matter. Really?
Yeah, Rockstar and Blizzard, to name just two, but there are more, are the KFC, and the rest are Southern Fried Chicken.
Yeah, the rest of the
SFC
you find in Asda.
Yeah, the roll of fucking colas. You know, you're trying. Sometimes you just want a full fat Coke.
Yeah, Blizzard are the real.
And you can't. You don't know why they taste different, but they just do.
Yeah. But yeah, we will be hopefully back in a couple of weeks, probably a fortnight or so, maybe a bit longer, maybe sooner, whatever. I don't think we're tied down to any particular schedule at the moment. But you can find us on Twitter at DoubleTapPod. You can find us, well, everywhere at DoubleTapPod, to be honest. There is a Steam group, the Double Tap Podcast Steam group, you can join. All the links are below the Twitch channel. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud or iTunes or whatever, then go to our Twitch channel and click on the links from there if you're really lazy, or just search Double Tap Pod on the relevant platforms and I'm sure you'll find us. And yeah, that's that. You can find me at Deadwoods42 on Twitter, and if you want to pimp yourself as well, Ian.
Yeah, it's at Mr. BadDog28.
So yeah, and obviously follow at Double Tap Pod as well. So we will catch you next time.